Hello and welcome. The camera's just not sitting right today. It's been moved for a lot of other things. Hi, Cheryl. Good morning. So I'm just, having to set things up here on this side. So I posted the cutting guide, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do today. It's amazing that this box is so big, but there's not a lot of, it's really not that much work. I mean, depends on what you put into it, of course. No, not tonight, Cheryl. I am getting ready to leave for our retreat, the first one that's been rescheduled through all this year. So it's really taken a little more of my mental capacity just with the logistics. So I don't have a Zoom set up for tonight, no. And I will not be live next week at all because, well, we'll come live to you from our retreat destination. And then I won't be live again until, just so you guys know, the week of July 6th, because we have the 4th of July in there. And we leave, I'll be gone all this week. So let me show you on the calendar. There'll be no lives this first week of July, 4th of July weekend, and I'll be back on Wednesday the 8th and the 10th. And I'll post that in our scrapbookers group. And I already did post it on Everything Authentique. So if you follow along on Authentique, you'll know. But we're going to go through these pages today. I'm just going to walk through the matting with you because everybody's is going to be different. This was not a kit. You were using your own paper. So everybody's going to have a different style. But we are also going to create, and that's the cutting guide I put for today is the box. And we're going to be creating this little frame. And again, you can do it your own size. I'm just going to give you the standard size and how I wrap it. And I'll do a little decorating on that. And then I'll just go through each side of the box again to show you how I decorate. And of course, everybody has their own style. So you'll be able to, if it just helps, gives you some ideas. We will do that. And we will create our box, which is meant to go, it goes down in the bottom of your big box, and it's just for your memories. And one thing you're going to want is this ribbon because it's just going to make it so much easier. Remember how Grandma used to take her old lunchbox? It was tied with the string to carry. Then it'll fit inside the box. Now, again, mine are still not matted. And what I did is I decided on a few. Oh, hi, Wilbur. I'll be using the Spectrum, even though this is Cartabella School Days, but the Spectrum blue just goes really well on the inside. So I pulled some of those, and they're the same size matting as you did the outside. And then I pulled some different papers from Home Again. This was a Cartabella, and I'm going to be using it on the box, but I thought those lines were just perfect. So again, get in your stash on those leftover papers. I won't use that side, but I'm going to use this side on the box. And I'm going to use the wood grain from Home Again. So I thought, wow, those will look kind of cool on the box for the inside. And then on this little box with the lines, the recipient can actually write on that box. So, got my sticker sheet. And we're going to start, though, with creating the box. So we're going to do the box and then the frame. And then I'll just walk through the matting with you guys. So the box, and this is where you're going to want your ribbon of choice. And I have some of this is actually being used on one of our retreat kits for our scrapbook retreat. So I'm going to use it because it's a Scottish plaid actually, but it's going to go great. So you do want a good 2-3 yards so that you have that handle to pick it up. But the box is going to fit inside the box. You want 2 sheets of cardstock. One is 11.5 by 11.5. One's 11 3/4 by 11 3/4. And I just have to remember something really quick. Which one is the lid? The lid has got to be, like I said, I've been working on hundreds of different projects with the designers for the retreats, so I've kind of gone brain dead here. I don't want to tell you the wrong size. Okay, 11.5 by 11.5 is going to be our box bottom. And we're going to score it so that we have the fold over top so that it looks really nice. And what you're going to do with the 11.5, it's not going to matter. We're going to score all 4 sides the exact same way. You're going to score it at 1/2 and 2. And just turn it all the way around and 2. We're going to stop. I'm going to have you not score for a minute. I got to make sure I've got the right piece here. What do I do with the box? Okay, that is the right piece. Okay. We're good. So 1/2 and 2 all the way around. And I'm just going to go back over my score lines. Because the artisan paper, you do need to score a little bit harder. And 1/2 and 2. Again, this was paper on this one I used from Family Night. And I did the top. I did the top and the bottom where we do the 1/2 inch marks because it gives you a closed edge so it doesn't get all banged up and smashed. And we're going to do the exact same scoring with the 11 3/4 inch piece. I cut mine 11 3/4 and 11.5. That's what I did. I cut one wrong. Okay, I need 11 3/4, but I cut this 11 3/4 and 11.5. I don't know why. So let me fix that. That's why I confused myself. Brenda, you are showing up because what you have to do, you have to give permission to StreamYard to show your face, to show your name. And that's really easy to do. All you do is push on the above StreamYard. You just give it permission to show your name on Facebook. Those are Facebook rules. But hi, Brenda. That's the reason I cut the paper wrong. I wasn't going to say anything, but I was talking to Brenda on the phone when I cut my 11 3/4, but I cut it too short. But that's okay. Okay, we're going to do the same thing now with our 11 3/4 by 11 3/4, which this is the top. Hi, Tricia. Again, hi, Suzette and everybody that's popped in. So 1/2 and 2, and you want to go all the way around. And 2 and 1/2 and 2. Okay. we're going to start with this little guy here, 11.5 by 11.5. And let's just go ahead and burnish all of our edges. So we're going to be turning these into boxes. So I have a suggestion. Do you ever have those days you can kind of tell mentally? You just trying to make everything click. Okay, we're going to burnish, but you're not going to cut till after I cut, so I don't tell you wrong. Like I said, I've been working with 5 different projects in my brain and putting the kids together for the retreat that we're going to be attending, with lots of social distancing and lots of everything that's required. So I'm kind of like, my brain is trying to come back to my regular projects. So bear with me. Let me cut the first one and then we'll cut the rest together. Straight up. We'll cut the other side. All right, we're there. We're good. I'm just, this morning, my brain is just not there. So let's go ahead and cut straight up this score line, keeping this square. One thing I'm going to come back over here and do is we will be mitering these outside edges so that it has a nicer fit. So I'm going to turn it this way and miter this side, because I'm just going to cut that 1/2 inch off. Then we're going to cut this 1/2 inch flap off because it's going to be fitting underneath this one. And then you can miter your inside edge of the flap. Don't ever miter this or you'll ruin your box shape. Okay, that's what it's going to look like. And that will fold over. Okay, let's repeat on this end. Again, we're going to go straight up the score line. I'm going to just go ahead and cut this off to save a few steps of cutting. Then on the side, go ahead and miter. And you can actually now just miter that whole edge. See, my brain's coming back. Main thing is you just say parallel of each other, or, you know, from top to bottom. So let's repeat. You know, I can do this stuff with my eyes closed, but sometimes when I have to talk through it, that's when I lost my train of thought. I'm going to miter the inside. I'm just going to go ahead and miter this whole outside. There we go. Now we're also going to want to mat this. Well, it's called Not Enough Coffee this morning. These 1/2 inch pieces right here, so that they fit nice, I'm going to go along just the 1/2 inch. See, just the 1/2 inch. And that one's mitered in case you missed any. And on this first one, I have that bump there. And you can see possibly it extends past this. And this is where you need to have that straight line. And we're going to mat. I did do the matting. I didn't double mat this. So I'm going to mat the inside and the outside. And our box is now 7.5 by 7.5. So that's where my first pieces will come. And I don't, let's see, I don't really want to use, excuse me, I'm going to use that for the sides. I'm going to use this for the tops and bottom. So I'm going to use the blue spectrum, even though it's blue on blue, it'll be fine. It's a little bit lighter, but we're going to cut 2 pieces, whatever you choose, at 7 3/8 by 7 3/8 for our little box. So the pieces that I'm going to use for the top, like I said, it's this home again. And I chose this stripe. It looks great. We're going to cut those at 7 3/8 by 7 3/8. And there we go. I'm going to turn it over to do the outside here. Check our fit. You definitely, if you want to ink or, you know, the distress ink along your edges, I'm not going to for this box. And then the ribbon actually goes, I'll show you, we're not putting the ribbon underneath our pattern paper. And I need my stripes going the correct direction. Hi, Jennifer. So Jennifer will be teaching at this retreat. We'll be coming live. So it's not like we won't be doing any lives. We will be coming live and showing you how we're doing everything in the midst of social distancing and how they're going to put us in different rooms. And we actually have 3 ballrooms or three event rooms. I do like the blue on blue. We have the event rooms, and we will be coming live and showing the designers creating their projects. So it is going to be a fun time. It'll definitely be, we may be social distancing, but it's also going to be quite the social experiment for scrapbooking. But I think as scrapbookers, we're so desperate to just be together. No, oh, you know, it's not really cold in Utah, but it's cold in my studio because my studio is in the basement. And the basement is about 15 degrees cooler than any other part, whether the warehouse or the house upstairs. The warehouse outside is actually pretty cool in the morning because it's surrounded by trees. Our little warehouse is actually really beautiful. If you haven't seen it, it's usually in the pictures. It's a wooden, and it has a front porch. It's just a beautiful place to work. But yeah, my arms get cold down here. So we want to do the sides. We're going to mat these outsides. They're also 7.5, but they're only 1.5. So what I'm going to do is cut this piece first to 7 3/8. I didn't do any double matting. And then I will cut 4 pieces, and I will be using I have these left, so I'll probably use these on the inside. I will cut, well, I'm going to cut as many as I can actually at 1 3/8 from this little piece of paper. Oh, no, I won't. I'll tell you why. I forgot the other part is a little different size. So I'll do the inside with this. So we need 8. Oh, Jennifer, yeah, your studio is in the basement too, so you know how chilly it could be. Mine's in the basement, but my windows are above ground. It's really kind of cool. Okay. So we can go ahead and mat this whole outside. I actually had the heat on down here just for a little bit on my feet. It got a little bit chilly. But the dogs do love it down here. Again, for your box, you don't have to use this little inside memory box. You don't have to use exact pattern papers. If you don't want to, you can just use some that coordinate well and use up your stash. But it's always fun, and I always find I need a box to just throw the loose pictures in until I can get back to them. And that's why, whoops, I incorporated a box within a box here so that you would have that memory place, whether this is for baby, bridal, a wedding. Oh, wow. This is, you can do so many different themes here. Definitely a Christmas daily for the December daily where you want to record the daily happenings. Many of you are probably getting to the point in life where you don't want to record nothing. If you're like me right now, I don't want to record nothing. I'm just like, I just want to craft and create, and I am not going to even record any daily happenings anymore unless it's just right here with Wilbur. How's that? Because Wilbur makes every day happy. No more. Okay. On this side, we're going to do the 2 side flaps. These pieces that come into the center. Oh, no, we're not, because I almost caught myself. We need to put these down first because we want to mat on top like so. So we can put those down right now and go ahead and mat these 2 sides. And then I'll just add my 1 3/8 by 7 3/8, the matting on top. And then it hides that seam, but we have a nice finished top, and it won't get beat up because you're taking the lid on and off. Oh, hello from North Carolina. I am on StreamYard, so I see whether you're coming from Facebook, YouTube, but I don't see your name. Remember, if you're on Facebook, where the announcement is for this video at the top, you'll see that there is a blue link asking for permission, because Facebook, where I'm streaming from an outside source, they won't allow your name to show up unless you give permission. Otherwise, you just show up as Facebook user. And I'm not 100% sure on that rule. I'm sure it's just for personal safety, you know, where you're coming from Facebook. And I don't even question rules anymore. because they change daily. Who knows? Okay. Now we can put our box together. This is where clothespins really do come in handy if you have them. Mine are always right here handy. But we're going to go ahead and burnish all the edges before we put our box together. Because you want a nice square box. You want really flat burnishing. Hi, Donna. So this is an important step, and if you're using the artisan, it's really important because it's a much stiffer paper and it does require you to burnish it well. Okay, let's put our flaps together. It doesn't matter what side we start on, just so they're across from each other. And again, making sure you're getting them even. Take your fingers and move it back and forth till it's in place. I'm just going to fold the flap over for a moment. It won't stick. That's going to hold those in place. Really like that blue with the wood grain. And we're going to turn it. Hi, Margaret. So, Margaret, I did just see that you have a new Facebook group called, is it Margaret's Place? Well, we'll be posting that link because Margaret's doing another guest design project with us. And I think you're going, oh no, I know you're going to love it. And she does such beautiful work. Whoops, so I'll be sure and post that link over on Facebook too. My bone folder, this one is just the really cheap. This one's the really cheap Fiskars bone folder. I have, you're going to die when you see this. So you can get these, once in a while I'll have them for sale, but you can get, I have plenty of them, but they do wear down. You can get these at Michael's, Joann's with your 50% off. They're Fiskars. And they're not sharp. They don't cause a sharp edge. This is my heavy duty. I love this. We have more coming in stock. This is the EK Tools. You have the beveled edge. So, but this one is sharp. And you don't want to use it poking because you will poke through your paper. But I use these for scoring and when I don't want to. And I have lots because I misplace them all the time. Okay. But when you use your 50% off, they're so cheap. This one just comes in a set from Lowe's or Home Depot, and they're plastic scrapers. They're $1.99. Okay, I'm putting adhesive on that 1/2 inch. Burnish that down. It's also going to hold down those tabs. Okay, now we can go ahead and mat. And that just makes for a really pretty finished box when you do all your edges and take that extra few minutes to do the scoring. And it's going to last a lot longer. Your edges aren't going to get all banged up. Okay, I'm really liking the blue and the wood grain together a lot. Yes, and you know, Greenville, Greenville has different rules, of course, than St. Louis. So keeping up with everybody's rules and still holding the retreats has really been a challenge, but fun. And some of the requirements and things you have to question, like if you have video and audio and video equipment, you can't have as many people. Makes no sense to me. But I'm excited for Greenville, and I'm excited for all of them just to see human beings. So we're gonna have so much fun. So I can't wait to see you in Las Vegas, Margaret. Okay, there's part of our box. Now let's do the second half. And we're going to create it the same way. And it depends. Some people like to burnish it first. Some like to burnish it after you cut. But I'm going to go ahead and do the burnishing beforehand. It just works better when you fold it against your score line like that. And that inside score line. And we're going to create this exact same way, but the size is going to be different. And you know what I did? Oh, I got ahead of myself. I cut my matting, and the inside of our box is just a little bit bigger. So this is a chance to double mat if you like. I'm sorry. So if you did cut that, we shouldn't have, because this is 7 3/4 by 7 3/4. So your matting is actually 7 5/8 by 7 5/8. So I'm going to cut another piece of matting here. Well, this is 7 3/8. I'm going to double mat and make it 7 1/2. Now that's only if you did what I did and you pre-cut. See, it should be 7 1/2 by 7 1/2, and then 7 3/8 by 7 3/8. But it's not bad. If you want to double mat. Let me grab something here. I'm going to actually, all right. I'm cutting 2 more pieces, and I'll show you in just a second. Okay. So, seven 3/4 by 7 3/4. So 7 3/8 by 7 3/8 will be this top piece. Gives me more of a border. And this would be outside here. So this is 7 5/8 by 7 5/8. And I'm going to cut another piece of cardstock. Let me see what I have handy. I'm going to use this black alphabet because what's going to happen is now I'm going to be short, possibly a piece, but we'll play that out when we get there and see how that works out before I cut too many pieces of paper. So my matting piece then is 7 5/8 by 7 5/8, and I had already cut this at 7 3/8. So that will fit perfect because this is going to be the outside. So we'll turn it to the inside and start cutting. Once again, just cut up your score line right there. Angle, now that I remember what I'm doing. And just cut that off. I'm cutting it basically the same way as the other one, just fewer steps. Sometimes that happens when I have my brain in a different gear. When I start a project, it takes me a second. Or I'm just old. One or the other. Do cut that out or it won't fit over this flap. Okay, making sure everything's been mitered. Starting on the back side. So this is now a 7 3/4 square. This is the lid. And we are going to have longer sides. So these will be cut 7 5/8 for the matting. And I have these pieces left. The only thing is, see, I only have one of this. So I'll be using this on the outside. Unless you want to do some of both. Because you're only going to get, you won't get but 2 out of this one. So I'll go with these guys here in just a moment and we'll cut those. Actually, I'll cut them now. So I'm going to cut these, the length down to 7 5/8. And we're going to cut the same size, 1 3/8. We need 4 for the outside and 4 for the inside. And we're going to be close because we're only going to get 6. Let me see. So I'll cut down my blue. And I'll do the white on the outside with the stripe, and we'll do blue on the inside. Again, these are also 1 3/8. And this is the Authentique Spectrum. Okay, we are set to go. If you like blue, that looks really cool with the blue on blue. And it looks even, I think, better in person, of course. So the double matting. Again, great place you can journal on. Or you can make a list of what's in the box. White on the outside. And it is easier to mat it flat. Yeah, it's always fun to meet each other, everybody in person. That's what I love about the retreats, Margaret, is meeting. I know I've already met you. I got to spend 9 days on a ship with you. You can't, I mean, meeting each other in person is just amazing. It creates such lasting friendships. And that's why I love to do these in person. Okay, one more side, and we will move to the inside part of this lid. Now, once again, the pieces with the flaps hooked to them are the pieces we can mat. And we're going to go ahead and put down the 1/2 inch first. Don't do the ones where you've cut the flap up, otherwise you'll be matting. I mean, you'll have to, it'll mess up your matting, that's all. And you'll be double matting again. So I'm going to put this on the outside. Oh, and then the inside is going to be that second piece that I cut at 7 5/8 by 7 5/8. I'll put that down in just a moment. And then we'll go back and burnish all of these folds. And if you've never worked with the Authentique Spectrum, sell it at countrycraftcreations.com. But it's also a texture, so it's really a nice heavy paper. Okay, now the center. Oh, and one side is stripes, one side solid. I mean, polka dots. So you can choose your sides depending on the personality of your paper. A lot of times I go with stripes, especially with weddings. More of the pinstripe look. Okay. Now it's fine. See, you'll notice you need to definitely burnish it. Well, Jen, and here's the thing. We go to Greenville, we come home, and a week and a half later it's Vegas. Yeah, we've got some kind of tight events here because of the rescheduling, so there we go. Now we can go ahead and put the sides in. Start there and bring those together. Just hold that for a moment till the glue grabs. Okay, now the opposite side. Oh, just move those guys over. Oh, thanks, Mark. Oh, I love making boxes too. I love the fact that you can take a box, you can turn it in to so many things, into the albums we've made, the folios. We're actually doing a different kind of a box at the retreat in St. Louis, so that you can also put all your fun retreat pictures in there, but also bring it home and fill it full of your keepsakes. And so boxes, I love how they've, I love changing it into a project that you can create and then put away with everything intact. You don't have to worry about anything falling out. And then it's a gorgeous decoration piece. I mean, I put the feet on the other box that I'll show you again, and putting the feet on it just dresses it up, and then you can leave it sitting out on the shelf. Of course, it's a big box. You need a big shelf. Coffee table, and it's just such a conversation starter too when people start looking in the box, especially like this one. Now you can make this box, leave out the album altogether, and then just start stacking all these boxes in there. Like I said, your imagination, just let your imagination take you. This is going to be one of those projects that you're going to be able to create a lot of different things out of with minimal work. I had to tell you, I had the sweetest lady, one of our customers, Nancy, called today. She's 83, and she was so excited to make a box because she couldn't make a box before, but wrapping it the way we did and not using the strips to put our box together. She was so excited because she said her hands hurt and she can't, but she made this box and was just ecstatic. So she had to call me, and I was ecstatic because I thought that is so neat that it enabled you to create our boxes. So I'm going to turn it so your lid now will fit on the box, bottom, top. Now this is where I put this underneath a cut apart because I didn't want to tear the paper, and we do need to put that on the box now. So using a cut apart is what's going to anchor it down, and it doesn't really have to be a cut apart. You want to just use a square, because these ones are kind of small, but they'll still work. I'm just going to use, right now, let me cut a square from here. And I'm going to cut it 5 by, looks like 5 by 5 of the wood grain. And the whole purpose is I could then I could actually put a photo on there. So you're going to want the ribbon to go across the back of the box. But it needs to be like the width of, not the width of, but your score tape only needs to be whatever either your cut apart, if it's 4 by 6, 5 by 5, that's the only bit of score tape that you're going to need to hold this down. We're going to glue it down to this. So I did put mine kind of an angle. I didn't mean to. There we go. But I'll put my cut apart at an angle, and I can put a photo there. And I will go back and probably put another matting on this, but because of the time on our video, I wanted to get the basics done with you. So when I get back, we can get ready to start some Christmas in July projects. Make sure that is down. So one thing I'm going to do is open my lid. So the ribbon needs to be on the base or the bottom of your box. And then just make sure you furnish that glue well. Then you can go through and decorate your box as much as you want. But my ribbon, you want it to be a loose, because you want to, like, remember how you see photos and Little House on the Prairie, they used to carry their books bound together, and that's what this was made to simulate. And it's going to make it easy to reach inside of your box and pull it out. And I'll save that ribbon for my tags. And let me go ahead and tie this one back, and I'll put it in my other box. And the black and white ribbon is still for sale in our store at Country Craft Creations. We have lots of that, but I really like this one. It will be eventually for sale. Like I said, we brought it in for the retreat in South Carolina. So now your box just fits down inside. Remember, mine's unfinished. And I don't want to hit the camera. Just slid in. Now it just sits down inside your box. And I want to grab now our finished box, so I can show you a couple of things. So here's the legs. See how I put the legs on it? They were a little bit of a challenge. The legs from Graphic 45 do not come with brads. They used to, but they don't anymore. I could have swore they did, but I used E6000, so it got a little messy, but you can't see it on the bottom, the E6000. And then I did have to poke holes through, and I just used a pokey tool. And I went through the holes. So the feet have holes, but they do not come with brads. And you're going to want to use the brads. So if you have any in your stash, and we're going to make this frame now. I want to show you how I did the frame, because it's really easy with your scraps of chipboard. Then just taking my cut aparts and double matting and using ephemera from the collection. I didn't do anything on the back. And on the side, again, a 4 by 6 and just one of the ephemera pieces. And that's all I did to decorate the box. So let's go ahead and create the frame. Now the frame I did was from a piece of chipboard that's 5 by 6. And you want to determine, so I did hand draw mine already because I wanted to determine, or if you have a machine that can cut these, if you have a Cricut or a Maker, or see, you can actually, I actually cut these on there. I'm just waiting for a different blade. I need my knife blade. So what I did is the one I cut, I went ahead and drew it on here just so that I could kind of show you what we're going to do, but how to mark it. That's what you want to determine, is how big do you want your sides. I like 3/4 of an inch to an inch. This one's 3/4. So you're just going to take a ruler and you'll draw that out. You'll just start by marking 3/4 wherever you want. And then you need to do it on the opposite side. Sorry. And then I just come in over here. Having a quilting ruler helps because I was able to mark here 3/4 from the bottom in, and then you can just draw your line. And I moved it up, keeping it at 3/4 on my quilting ruler and all the way around like so. Just coming in the middle and again marked it a little off at 3/4. And then once you do that, you'll be able to draw your square all the way around. And well, we still need this because we're going to cut it. We're going to cut it out using a box knife, or if you have a craft knife, whichever you like. So the main thing is, oh, and I don't even worry about super straight cuts because when we wrap it, you'll see. And just take it slow. Don't try to go through it all at once. Because if you're using the chipboard from Country Craft Creations, it's a little bit heavier and you're not going to go through it with one swipe. I didn't quite get to the end. Okay. Then I'm just going to continue. And you can use your ruler. Trying to get a hole there so that I can. And you'll feel it come loose. I just have to work on that corner a little bit more. Again, don't try and do it all at once. And I don't push it if it doesn't want to come out. We need to go back through with the knife so you don't tear it. Yeah, like it wants to tear there. There we go. You can save that for something else. So that is hand cut. Super easy to do, but we want to wrap it. And you want to wrap it with the cardstock that isn't going to crack. And you can use your artisan cardstock, or you can, I'm going to use, let's see, my box. I think I will use artisan cardstock because I know it's not going to crack. Or you can use the pattern paper. But I'm going to cut it so that we have, now this is 3/4 of an inch. So Wilbur's getting into something. That's very obvious. So this is only 3/4 of an inch. So I am going to cut this at 6 3/4, my cardstock, 6 3/4 by 7 3/4. And then I'm just eyeballing it. And we're going to add adhesive to the frame. Chipboard there. This is the back. And you're not going to see the back. Now you can also add acrylic onto your frame. You can turn this into a shaker. Spread that glue around, making sure it's dry. That's the main thing. If it's not dry, there we go. You're going to see some bubbling here, but you can definitely spread it out with your bone folder. Because I used a wet adhesive. Okay, turn it to the back and make sure if it's hanging over the chipboard anywhere, go ahead and let's go ahead and trim it off, because you want it to be, you don't want it to show into the center. And I'm just going to go around the edge and take another 1/4 inch off. Always better to be a little bit longer than shorter. Once you make some frames, you're going to love making frames. You can do so many things with these. We're going to now cut out, we're now going to cut out these little corners that we created when we finished up the sides. Last year, the year before, we did a frame for Authentique. And it's still on my dresser. It has Wilbur's first Christmas picture in there. So these frames that you make out of chipboard, trust me, they're going to last. So we want to miter all the corners. Just clean up those edges. Okay, once we have all those down, let's go ahead and glue them down, adding adhesive right along the edge of your chipboard, just like when you make your albums. Whoops. And that's what I love this beveled edge for. Oops. Yeah, sometimes it takes a minute for the glue to adhere to the chipboard. Now this side. And now the two other ends. And don't worry about the back. You're not going to see the back. I need to trim up that corner. Okay. Once we have those all down, we need to now cut out the center. And to do that, again, you need enough to, we need to wrap it. So you can also mark it. What I do, I just bring a mark down. You can also measure it, because you're going to want it to be at least 5/8 or an inch or so. You can kind of see what you're going to need, because we're not going to cut. So watch, I'm going to now just, and a lot of people, so from here to there and to that end, I think you guys can see those marks. So where it ends, I'm just going to cut an X to that one. Then from here to there, I'm going to cut an X. So now I have an X here, but don't force it because it'll tear your paper. Now, just from where that one ends, and this is not going to be straight. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to look pretty choppy, and that's okay. So just from there to that mark we made, and nothing, definitely nothing scientific to it. But now that kind of gives us the idea, and that's why I don't cut those first. Some crafters do like to cut them first if you want to, but now I go right to the edge of that, right up to that chipboard, and now I'm going to cut those corners out. I like to leave them so I can see my markings so that I don't cut too short. So after you make a couple and figure it out. Now we're going to just gently bend these in, gently. Okay, to make sure nothing's attached. There we go. So once we get those in, put your knife away so you don't cut your fingers off. And that's me. Then I'm going to take my bone folder. I'm going right along that edge. I'm going to change to one that's probably not so sharp. There we go. See, we're going to push it right against the edge of our chipboard. I'm telling you, these are super easy, and they make such a great embellishment to your projects or shaker frames. Okay, so we're there. Should be standing straight up like so now. And one of the main reasons I covered this, oh Bunny, I'm sorry, one of the reasons covering this in solid paper for you to see is that there was no patterns to get in the way of you seeing my markings. But you could also cut 1-inch strips and then put your pattern paper on. So I'm going to start with this long side. Again, I always put my adhesive next to the chipboard. Just get your bone folder up there. And the opposite side. Kind of have the raggedy edge on it. and set it up like so too. That works really well. Don't worry if you do tear the corners or anything like that, because that's what embellishments are for. A lot of times those corners will be covered up with flowers. Trust me, those little boo-boos. Yeah, I sliced my finger on my big dolly cutter, but I super glued it. Super glued it. Actually, it's gone and it's healed. Sally was watching as I sliced it on my dolly. I was trying to clean it. Wow, it's like really gone, but I super glued it. So got out the good old super glue and it healed like in a week. So Cheryl, I'm with you. But Cheryl, get out the super glue. Just super glue that baby shut and you'll be good to go. Okay. Really finish that on that edge so it's nice and tight. And there's your frame. Again, you can add your paper or you can do it with the pattern paper like I did on the first one. But now decide your front. Yeah, I'm going with the ABCs. And so I'm going to add, let's see if we can get this all in. Okay, I'm going to add the frame. Now you can also, like I said, if you're going to put acrylic, you just take put it on the back. Yep, just good old super glue. And I'm only going to attach a little bit of this side because I want to be able, and I had a photo. There we go. This is a 4x6. You want to be able to slide that picture inside of there. And then after you put it in, if you want to keep it there, or you can just leave the top open. You know, the choice is completely up to you. I usually I just do this side until I know what photo is going to go inside of there. But it needs to be put down. But oops, stay to this outer edge. And then just decide how you want it there. And sticker sheets. So sticker sheets, your embellishment pack, your enamel dots, gosh, anything that you want to use to decorate. Brads. So I've got some of those. I'm using a lot of those and they actually go really well. And again, I've got some messy spots here. Easy fix, super easy fix. So from the sticker sheet, I'm going to be using the sticker sheet. I'm going to take off my crayons. Wow, kind of there. And yeah, you can do foam dots. You can do foam dots and tape. Absolutely. You might want to mat these. Now, I didn't. I just put them down because there's enough space. It's really not going to interfere with the photo. And that sticky back, you can take it off also if you're going to use some powder or anything that you want to use. That's the nice thing about the embellishment pack. It does not have any stickies, of course. But don't be afraid to use your stickers, or you can also mat them. And that's the cute thing about doing this plain. So the banner would have been, the banner going across here is pretty cute too. And I know this one's just really hard to get into the picture. So I'm going to add some books down here, along with our crayons. This has some really cute graphics. So we can add the girl. A few extra. And in due time, it won't be sticky. But now like on this piece here, because I don't want it to break off. Foam foam dot, adhere it down, and now see it's good and safe. So big, it's hard to keep in here. And let's do a, I said this is from the school days, so it's the more vintage looking. $5 pennies, that's what it needs. Ooh. I know I got more glue there, so we have foam dots for that. Then decide where you want your foam dots and what you're going to use. I always glue them because I want them to be permanent. This collection does have foam dots that come with it. I didn't grab them, so I'm using what I have here on my desk. And sometimes it's fun to use what you have on your desk because you find it goes like that Crayola color there, and in that space I'll probably make a bow that goes there. But your enamel dots, good way to use them up. Let's go with that for our frame. And that's how we make the frame. Super simple. And again, if you don't want to use it for a picture, you can also just slide in your 4x6 saying. And then you can also, when you're done, add those foam dots right there to the back. You can use so many different things for your frames. And let's go through our pages. So we've got the box done, the big box, we got the little box. And because I did not get all my matting done for my pages, I'm going to walk through that with you so you can also see some of the decorations. We did go through the top a little bit. Last week I talked about adding your brad, and now I just went through and used ephemera and basically layered it, added. See, this was the sticker from this school collection. They had the two, one's Echo Park, one's Cartabella. So I added just for my punches. So you can just decorate the front however you're wanting, but the pages, so I know that's where you're going to have some questions. If you're going to do the matting, again, I just keep in mind 3x5 pictures or 4x6. Again, this is not quite 6, so you'll want to just go through and measure. And I was just using what was left, because like I said, this did take a lot of papers. So these came out to be the 4x5.5 on my sizes, and then I just divided them. And then I just went through full size matting. Just measure your pages first, put down your photo mats where you're wanting, and on your cut aparts, these were not cut aparts, pull-outs. So I did put these in the original cutting guide. They're 12x5, and then I just cut the matting 4 7/8. Oh, and you're going to want to score each one. I scored mine at 4.5. So 4 7/8 by 4 3/8. So just measure and then put down your matting. I used white on the inside and pieces from the collection. And again, sticker sheets. These were just from the sticker sheets, double matted, and I put them so that they're a stopper. Again, it'll depend on what you're using from your collection. Okay, this little guy, let me give you this measurement. It wasn't on the cut, it wasn't on your cutting guide. So this is 4 1/4 by 8 1/4. And I cut it that size to match the cut apart that's 4 by 4, and you just score it in half. So you're going to score it at 4 1/8. So again, if you're wanting this measurement, sorry, it's 8.5. scored at 4 1/4. So 8 1/2 by 4 1/4, and you're going to score it at 4 1/2 in half. Basically, just fold it in half. And again, just laying down the photo mat, bits and pieces that I went through, and then I just added embellishments so that pictures can go underneath it. And this little photo mat inside of here was 3 7/8 by 3 1/4. And then I just did the 1 inch around the edges. Again, simple matting. And then using the sticker sheet. This one just uses a cut apart. You can use anything from your collections that you want to hold down that nice long mat. Again, just photo mats. This one happens to be on the inside instead of the back side. And once again, just visualize where you want your photos to be. But this will give you an idea. Now see, oh, stamps. So I did go through with the collection and stamped some of the cute little things. This just gives you a lot more photo spaces. Photo mats just put up on your foam tape. And this was made for your 4x6 cut apart. Again, hi Sheila. I did cut the cut apart down, so it's 7 1/4 scored in half at 3 7/8, and then I cut the cut apart to fit it. And don't forget there is a magnet behind each flap. So it's just very basic, but it doesn't look basic when you open it. So personalize it, especially if it's a baby. You know, you definitely want to be able to put all those first photos in there, or school. Just use the sticker sheet, went through and did the decorating. And if you're using the school paper, then you can use this as a reference to go back in if you want to decorate it the same way I did. This little photo mat is 4 1/4 by 6. So after I did my 4 1/4 by 6, then I was able to fill in with the 1 inch and the 2 inch at the bottom. And I just continued the theme on the inside of each page that was on the outside, basically, using the coordinating blues. So this is a chance to also use up some of the other papers in your collection. Another one of the same size to fit the 4x4. So that is the exact same measurements as this one to put on the front. Now this larger photo mat is double matted, so the black part is 7 by 4, and then just whatever border you want. So it's 7 by 4. I cut mine 6 7/8 by 3 7/8, and just put those photo mats. And make sure you leave these open, because when you do, you can slide your photo underneath. If this is, otherwise you'll have to glue it on top. Okay, guys, that is the end now of our school box. Again, there is a walkthrough, and there's this walkthrough. You can go back through if you want any ideas, or I can't wait to see your ideas. Just using twine, make it however. This was the first one, the first school paper, and here is the second. So this one doesn't have the legs on it. And when I get back from our retreat next week, I'm going to finish this box, and then this one I'm going to do a drawing and give this one away. But I got to get it through. I got to get finished with it when I get back. But I hope you guys enjoyed making this. It was so fun. And it does make, I mean, this is going to make a statement sitting on your coffee table for sure. Add legs, do anything you like to the bottom. This is a pretty sturdy box. And remember, no live shows until, so there'll be no live show next week or the week after because of the July 4th holiday. So I'll see you back here on July 10th. And I'll make sure to post that in our Scrapbookers group on Facebook so that you guys won't be looking for me, but watch for the lives from the retreat. I can't wait to see how it goes. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you in a couple weeks.